Hi guys, Brain here, and welcome to another commentary. I haven't done one of these in a while. I've been kind of like underwater when it comes to content, in a good way. Like I'm making a lot of stuff. We're doing the reacts, we're doing match reviews now, and there's been a lot that I want to do, and I'm already uploading daily, so it's like, I mean, I guess I could upload more than daily, but that's kind of overkill. I have my own stuff, space to breathe. So yeah, I haven't actually had time to fit in one of these commentary videos in a while because I've been trying to get all the other stuff that we do done. So yeah, hello, it's good to be back doing kind of what I usually do. So it's kind of weird that this has been the invert of that lately. But yeah, today I want to talk about my most hated exhaustion, because one of the big most popular conversations that I see among the DBD community is dead hard again. Wow, I feel like I'm back in 2020. Remember back in 2020, 2021, before the we had before the big 6.10 chapter switch in 2022. Dead Hard used to be the most evil perk in the game. It was the perk that was quite literally winning matches, a la, Eruption on the killer side in 2023. And that was the perk that was literally carrying people to victory, and it was the boogeyman. It was the boogeyman of the killer side, and it was incredibly frustrating to face, because not only did you get distance, but you also got invincibility as well, which is an incredibly powerful effect. Essentially, unless you're not near a tile at all, you're just out in the dead zone, you're essentially always going to get perk value out of that, and which is why it, understandably got its nerf. And now, currently, it gives a half second of endurance, where you just hit it and you get a half second endurance. And the way that it's kind of BS now is in two main ways. The main way being that at pallets you can kind of get free value out of it. People say windows, but that's not true, because you can just be patient in a window. But at the pallet situation, yeah, if you go up to a pallet and you essentially force them into a lose-lose mind game, whether they hit the dead hard early and then they get endurance, or you wait and you get slapped with the pallet, and there's basically nothing you can do on the killer side. It's really lame. In every other way, it is an improvement over old Dead Hard. But the thing that I run into, which I'm sure a lot of you guys have run into as well, is specifically the characters I play, where I play either lunge, rush, or ranged killers. So I'm throwing hatchets with Huntress, I'm harpooning people as Deathslinger, I'm rushing at them as Billy or Oni, or Wesker. And for those characters in specific, which just so happen to be my favorite characters, Dead Hard is exceptionally strong, specifically against those kind of characters. In a weird way, new Dead Hard is kind of like better to face as like an M1 killer than it is other characters, because at least M1 killer kind of, like, for the most part, doesn't really get hits last second a lot. Kind of their hits just kind of happen when they do. You didn't do some weird tech or some weird last second throw around a corner to try and catch somebody. It's kind of just the bare basics of DBD. So weirdly enough, the precision and rush killers that I usually play are the ones that get affected the most by Dead Hard, because obviously if the last chance you get to hit somebody is when they're about to go around a corner and they just activate their endurance as they go around the corner, obviously they're safe, because either they make it and it's a lost perk, but hey, at least I didn't get hit, or I actually do hit them, but hey, they had the endurance up, so it doesn't matter. So, like, believe me, I should be the one probably up on a pedestal kind of talking down Dead Hard the most out of anybody. If you've been with the channel for a long time, the history of this channel, that I kind of was very much at the forefront of old Dead Hard hatred and trying to get that perk taken down as much as possible. But in all honesty, I believe that the meta that is coming after Dead Hard is going to be so much worse, because there's realistically, with how many people are complaining about it and how many people hate it, there's no way that Dead Hard stays the way it is. Dead Hard is probably going to get adjusted again because of just like the mass outrage that people have surrounding it. Still in 2023, as if it literally just feels like 2020 all over again, where everybody's yelling about Dead Hard. It feels like we're back there again. Despite the perk being way more balanced than it was back then, it's still probably top 3, top 5 perks in the game. But it wasn't like literally the obnoxious villain that it was back then. Anyways, I think the meta that's coming after the current Dead Hard meta is one of the most, not frightening, I feel that's a little bit of an exaggeration, one of the most, what's the word? It's going to be one of the most frustrating and irritating metas you've ever dealt with, and some of you have probably already seen this meta start to emerge, because people are preparing. People are seeing that, Dead Hard's being nonstop complained about. People are ready to move on. A lot of people have moved on already. just with the idea of current Dead Hard being more fair. They kind of like having a lot more power in their hands. So a lot of people have moved on. More than ever, I've been getting more sprint bursts and lithe than I ever have in the history of me playing this game. There's always at least one sprint burst and one lithe. Sometimes there's like 3 Dead Hards and then 1 sprint burst gamer or 1 lithe gamer, but more often than not, I'm getting like 3 lithe gamers and a sprint burst gamer, or 3 sprint burst gamers and a lithe gamer, or 3 sprint burst and a Dead Hard gamer. Like, now more than ever, I'm seeing sprint burst and lithe start to kind of like take over the meta when it comes to exhaustion perks. And I find these perks to be way more infuriating than current Dead Hard is, and I want to tell you why. So if you've been around for a long time with my Twitch, ever since the 6.10, or some of my React videos that I've done here on the YouTube where I've brought it up, is I like to call these perks the get away from me meta. The quote-unquote get away from me meta. And the reason I call them that is because, you know, when you're playing with Dead Hard, like current Dead Hard, the whole point is to extend your chase by baiting an endurance hit, which gives you that speed boost and that extra health state, right? So this is a perk you actively use in chase. So even when I find it exceptionally frustrating, which I do a lot, specifically because the characters I play, these people are at least trying to interact with me. So there's like a little bit of icing on the crap cake that, we're looping, right? Like, you should have went down there, and that's really frustrating. But at least you're looping with me. So there's a little bit of icing on the crap cake. What I see no redeeming quality in is like lithe and sprint burst, because you'll be chasing someone, and then they just hit a window, and after they hit the window, they just run away to like a main building, or they run away to shack, and now that's going to be a huge time waster that's taking a chase that may have been going from 20 seconds up to like 40, 50, maybe even a minute worth of time in chase, which, like we've talked about in other videos, typically you want your chases to be around 30, 40 seconds to try and, like, you know, have quick, efficient chases. So obviously, if you're in mid chase with somebody, you've already invested 15, 20 seconds in the chase, and then suddenly they lithe to a really strong structure in the middle of your chase, it's almost like in your best interest most of the time to just like drop that chase entirely. Now, this doesn't always happen. Like, sometimes people will lithe or sprint burst into a dead zone if they're dumb, and then that's even more in your favor. But, you know, it's kind of like the Dead Hard conversation, right? Like, Dead Hard, when it first got adjusted, people thought it was like a perfect fine perk because nobody was good with it yet. So everybody, on the surface, it appeared it was perfectly balanced, but then people got good with it and then it was miserable. Same thing with like sprint burst and lithe, is that people are starting to get good with it. And only using their lithe and sprint burst to try and go towards very, very strong areas, or very strong setups, very chainable tiles, and it's getting miserable because, you know, you're when you get into the situation where somebody just like speed bursts away, whether you're using lithe or sprint burst, you're in kind of a darned if you do, darned if you don't situation, because your option are, okay, continue the chase and chase them into this super strong main building or super strong setup of tiles, which is going to be a very, very long chase, which is going to cause you to eat gens. Or you give up chase, and then you got to go walk around and find somebody else. And then that player essentially had, you know, invincibility because, like, you drop chase with them, so all they had to do was, like, speed burst away, and now they're just free to do whatever the heck they want. So that'll probably be them getting on a gen. You just kind of don't win in that scenario. You kind of don't win when somebody like 99's a sprint burst or hits a window with lithe. You either chase them down and end up in a strong area if they're a good player, which a lot of people, like I said, a lot of people are starting to know how to use these perks correctly now. They go to a stronger area, and then you waste even more time, which is frustrating. Or you leave them, and then in that case, they can just go get on a gen. You just don't win here. You just don't win here. And unlike you know, Dead Hard, at least the chase is continuing, right? Like, at least you're still playing the video game with the alternative. At least you're still playing the game with the alternative. With lithe and sprint burst, you're just kind of like deleting the chase or extending it, not necessarily just because me hit button or me 99. You know, like the chase is either completely stopped because you have to drop chase with them because they're going to a place you won't win the chase, or the chase just goes on for like an extra like 15-20 seconds because of their exhaustion perk. And it's just like, I don't know, it's just it's a lose-lose situation, and I really hate it. And I think on like Dead Hard, there's not even a fun chase happening as a result of these perks, which is why I refer to them as the get away from me perks. So like, these perks are not used to try and, like, you know, spice up a chase or extend a chase. They're used to get away from a chase. So they're used to try and like circumvent and remove gameplay, which I find incredibly boring. And this has come for like I've used it on the Survivor side as well. I switched from Dead Hard to Life and Sprint Burst just to see how it was for a little bit, and it was boring. It was boring for me because, like, you know, what keeps me invested in the game is having fun and interesting chases. And, you know, if I was in the chase with somebody and I hit a window with light and I just zoomed to main building, often they just leave, right? They would just leave me behind, and that's the right play technically. But then, you know, is it the right play? Because I just went and hopped on main building gen, and now I'm just getting gen progress for free. But like, neither the killer or I had a fun chase there. He chased me for like 10-15 seconds, and I zoomed away. So like, nobody really had a fun time there. But you know, if DBD has proven anything, is that a lot of players in this game really prefer winning over any sort of actual like content. So yeah, they don't. Most people don't care. Most people are like, yeah, I escaped. Woo. Yeah, I feel like what's coming is that if Dead Hard actually does get adjusted again, there's going to be no reason for people to just run the get away from me meta, to run the sprint burst life, maybe even balanced in there, but that's more map dependent. Just people trying to get that speed burst as frequently and as easily as possible, and just denying chase as much as possible and forcing killers into a 50-50 that they always lose. And I don't know, I'm not eager for that future. And I'm not saying this as like a plea to not adjust the Dead Hard perk, because that's like whataboutism and all that. But I'm just saying that just forecasting, just you know, being your little DBD weatherman, I don't like the meta that's coming after this, and I can almost guarantee that the Sprint Burst Life meta will frustrate you more than the Dead Hard meta has. I can almost guarantee it, because for the matches I've played where it's been mostly Sprint Burst Life, I have had way less fun than I've ever had with like three or four man Dead Hards of the new variety. Make that clear. New Dead Hard. Old Dead Hard, oh yeah, but new Dead Hard, yeah. I hate my Sprint Burst games way more. Yeah, what do you think? Do you guys still think that Dead Hard is the strongest, most frustrating exhaustion perk? Or are you more like me, where you're kind of a little bit more afraid of Sprint Burst Life and the popularity of that growing? Let me know down in the comments below. But other than that, that's gonna be it for today's video. Thank you so much for watching. Good to be back doing commentary. But other than that, thank you so much, and I will see you tomorrow because I upload daily. But if I don't, I'll see you when I see you. Woo! Goodbye.